afternoon, holy fellers. And welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I noticed some of our MSA associates are with us, so welcome to you and some of the faculty and so on. Thank you for being with us as we celebrate and commemorate the life of Father Eusèbe Ménard, who's the founder of the Society of the Missionaries of the Holy Apostles. This afternoon we've got a presentation by our professor of canon law, our top gun, if you will, slight pun there, Father Luis Luna, who is the provincial for the MSA here in the United States, and he will take over now. So if you would join me to welcome Father Luna.
Well, I hope you will understand me. My length is special. So, we are starting today the celebration of the centennial of Father Ménard. He was born in 1916, and we start all this year of celebrating his memory. We call the apostle of the vocations, because he was one who promoted, before to die, more than 1,400 priests for the church. Those who were, like some of you, without hope in other time. And I was thinking how we remark this event. And for me, probably comes in this way. The Pope Francis sent a letter to the consecrated people declaring that 2015 as a year of the consecrated life and the apostolic societies. Well, I'm making the nuance. It is like that he sent his message. Probably we need to understand a little bit what means that. Sometimes we have the confusion to put in the same pattern the Franciscans, the missionaries of Holy Apostles, the Sulpicians, the Jesuits, the Cancians, if you want. But we are completely different. And we need to understand that difference is not just of the form. The difference is the existence in the church. So, when the Holy Father is directing his letter, the first thing I put, taking a little paragraph of him, I can receive his letter says, don't be afraid, because he will remark many aspects in the life of the consecrated life in the apostolic societies, like a vision very humanistic, where it is contained by success and failures. If you don't have a vocation, you are failed. If you have a vocation, you are successful. He says that's a wrong way to see the consecrated life in the apostolic society in the church. Secondly, the Holy Father told us, giving a little different definition what we have the consecrated life. We have in canon law, which says the consecrated life is a life dedicated to God for to live more closely the profession of the evangelical counsel of poverty, chastity, and obedience. The Holy Father says it is a call of God the Father to follow Jesus, embracing the gospel, and serving the church. It is a work of the Holy Spirit, the source of joy, and our witness to God's love and mercy before the world. Well, we are surprised. Well, Francis always surprises us. For him, believe in Jesus, call, action. If you believe in God, you need to show your commitment with the human being. He's not just watching the poor, or the more vulnerable, or the more in need. He watched the man in the history. That word history is very scary in the theological approach, because It's a language started in the 70s. You know, Jesus of the history. I don't know if you had that familiarity, but it was to reduce a leader revolutionary, you know, but in reality the Holy Father used Jesus, the history, because he was incarnate. He came, he made his kenosis, you know, be one like us. And especially for the consecrated, with his life, show what it means to be consecrated. And Jesus, he says, cry with those who suffer, heal those who need healing, free those who need a freedom, give the light to those who are in darkness, give food those who are hungry, call people who surround him as a good friends to announce the good news. So Jesus showed us how to follow the steps which conduces to the kingdom of God. For that, he says, the Holy Father, don't be afraid. So, why he called this consecrated year? He says, first, there are two reasons why I call. One, because it was a request of the Congregation for the Consecrated Life and the Apostolic Societies, because, I don't know if you remember the visitation to United States, to the women consecrated, was over last year. We have all the results, you know, and, well, it was very prudent, very respectful, but in one hand, remind us who we are and what we do. So one of the things is, if we assume the vows of poverty, chastity, and obedience, is not just a spiritual commitment. It's a real one. The obedience is like he did today. For this I came. He said today, do you remember? For this I came. To do the will of my Father, to die on the cross for the salvation of the world. So, the first is to answer this intention, because the second motive is the 50th anniversary of the Vatican Council, especially the Lumen Gentium and Perfecta Caritatis. The two documents, the chapter 6 and Lumen Gentium, all the documents of Perfecta Caritatis, tell us during the Vatican II what we expect, who we are, where we go. So it is 50 years. You know, now the Holy Father is not talking in juridical terminology. He will say in the moment, I speak to everyone. I know probably many are not in my speech, but are included because it's not possible to do that. But everyone is called. Everyone is called. So one of the things I want, those who we are, even if we are in different approach, one being the portion of God, the other dedicated to the kingdom of God, serving the gospel, we need to understand we make the difference in the world. We must do. So that is what the Holy Father says. First of all, he divided in some topics, you know, and we will see the first is aims of the year of consecrated life. Well, the reason is the first. We need, he says, to look the fast with gratitude. You know, I come from the Latino culture. I'm a Latino, and we Latino, we share everything what we have in the past. It's true. You know, I knew my great-grandfather never met, but I knew them because my mom, my dad, we didn't have television in that time, so between 6, 7, 8 was a time of familiar tertulia, you know, to talk together, to share these stories and so on, you know, and the fast. Make truth what my mom and dad was, and we love, we understand We love our culture, our history, our family, so on. You know, the same happens with our religious, with our, I will use enlarge the religious, okay? As everybody, okay? Our religious group, we need to watch the story of our founders, our foundress, you know, because they were a men and women of God. You know, when I watch Father Ménard, for example, because I had the privilege, now we are talking after one generation, there are new people. 20 years, Father Ménard was away 28 years ago. So we have at least one generation, and the second is coming. So they didn't know Father Ménard. And now the question is, what especially was Father Ménard? Well, Father Ménard told us, the providence of God, wake up before the sun. Father Ménard tell us, watch Jesus and the poor, and the more vulnerable, and the abandoned. Father Ménard was a man who find the face of Jesus and destroyed it, and the rejected, and the miserable. You know, probably that is what makes us a difference in some way. We adore Jesus, finding that person. He teaches us in that way. He says, you don't need to kneel in front of the tabernacle by hours. He did always, but if you find some vulnerable, do the same love what you have in front of the tabernacle and take care in this moment. And Jesus will be happy because Jesus is inside and you have them. Father Ménard was a special guy. You know, when you watch this, you didn't have the opportunity to know the old chapel here was a very poor, was we sit pushing one another, was small, but always to me was to see Jesus in Bethlehem. You know, in some way we lose something, we gain beauty, but we lose something, that humility. Where sometimes we believe we find Jesus in the beautiful temples, but sometimes not, sometimes. So depends how we watch this. So, you know, our fast, we need to watch with gratitude. I'm very thankful to Father Ménard. When I watch, when I went there in the seminary, we went to the market. They give us a knife. I said, oh, what do you do? You know, everybody with his knife, with one container, one sack in one container. We went there, and says, okay, we're finding food here. So we took the garbage there, we cut it with a knife, a potato, half potato good, half bad. The bad for the porks, we have a pork too, and the good for the other ones, us. You know, and the people give us, and we didn't feel miserable. We didn't feel we were like so poor, so miserable. Today I watch with a lot of concern and love in the back, because I learned to follow Jesus. I learned to trust in Him. I learned what demanding was. I learned to understand the poor. I learned to understand the people in the misery and so on. Because it was our beginning. Today, sometimes I told my guys, at least in the room, I said, don't throw the food. There are people near to our door who needs that. Sometimes they don't want to eat beans, you know. I said, man, beans was good. Come on. You know, watching the past, we can understand the present. The second, live the present with passion. You know what's funny? We have the visit of our friends, the Presidium, and the Father Judge told me, man, you're a passionate guy, a passionate guy. Wow, thank you. Because I think we do or we don't. The passion is something we commit all what we are. You know, and I'm not saying we are the best. I'm not the best. I never consider myself the best. But I try to do all what I'm capable to do, and hopefully good. Praying to God, I'm doing maybe good, you know. I'm learning from our mistakes too, because the passion makes to believe in the future. If the passion goes together with dream. If we stop to dream, if we don't commit ourselves on what we are, we finish to find other gardens. You know, you have the expression, the neighbor garden is greener than ours, but it's not true, no? Because we need to love first our own family before to replace with other. If we never must replace, probably the other things we are good too. Embrace the future with hope. You know, the hope, here we teach in moral, the hope is the chariot of all the virtues, yes? Hope and wisdom goes together. We need to understand the hope in the context of God called us, yes? God called us. If we were called by God, so we need always to understand God never will abandon us. Sometimes we are so materialistic in our vision. We are sometimes so quantifying in our vision. We need to trust in the future. We need to have a hope. You know, this last time I was watching the numbers in my community, and it was funny. I saw under 66 priests. Under 60. Under 70, 12. Under 80, 16. Under 19 or little plus, 17. Yeah. You know, almost I lose the hope. Because passing 16, coming to 70, the people are tired. The people want to rest. And now they are creating the word retire. I'm retired. I don't know what they retire, but they want to retire. You know, I don't understand, honestly, because if we were called by God, we were not called for to be a priest. We were called to consecrate our lives at the service of Him. If we retire, that means we will die. That reminds me when I was a pastor in Peru, the moment I saw in the first Mass only ladies in the Mass, I was very sad for them. I believe they were a widow. You know, I said, you are a widows? No, Father, where is your husband? Oh, they're outside in the square walking. Why they don't come with you? Okay, next Sunday you will bring your husband. Otherwise, those who come without a husband, I will pray asking God, they must go to heaven now. Because they are ready. They don't need more God, so they need to go there. Okay. The next Sunday you watch, the church was packed. The husband. You know, furious. If you touch that, you know. So I said, good afternoon. I said, good afternoon myself. How are you? Nothing. I'm good, and you? Finally, wow. We're Latino, so it's like in Colombia, America, amigos. So I said, those who are from Alianza, it's like the boss, the Yankees and the Red Sox. Oh, immediately they were the team against which I support. Boo! Ah, you're still alive, good. You know, we start, why you are furious? Okay, let me ask you, I will preach now, the homily, about what you want to talk. One says, well, I have a kid of 14 years, he doesn't obey me. Okay, we will talk about that. What's the problem? You know what's funny? No more I remind them to come to the church. they find it what they were looking for. If we become the best friends till today, they care of me, I care of them. So, you know, when we need to have a hope in the future, but the present starts the future. In the past, illuminate our present. Oh, sorry. That's technology.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. The second is the expectations for the consecrated year. It says, what particular do I expect from this year of grace for the consecrated life? Asked the Holy Father. Well, the first expectation is to know and show that God is able to fill our hearts to the brim with happiness. You know, in the hospital, I think I share you, but I watch the finger of God in every moment of my life. Do it. I do that. For me, works. Make explanations of the life. So, the first visit I had was a guy, a priest, who says, May I put the anointing of sick? I said, okay, but first can you listen my confession? Sure. So I confessed, he anointed me. And normally we connected, you will die, you know, so. But anyhow, I had time to question myself there. Okay, I said, God, if you call me now, man, I don't know. I don't know how to answer you. I repeat to you the first day you called me. Probably I am not fit for this life. Why you are calling me? You know, I asked him that. I was 19, 20 years old, so I asked why you called me. I loved dancing, I loved, you know, and to go to pray, you go to sleep at 10 p.m. and so on. How difficult it was. You know, I was a kid who sleeps at 2, 3 in the morning. Sleep! It's today, okay, you know. We didn't, not too crazy things, maybe. But the thing was, I was not fit. I believe it. Those who go to the seminary normally are every day in the church, always kneeling, always praying, holy guys. I watch myself not holy, so anyhow, so I said to him, I answered the same question to you if it's time to go with you. It's your problem, you call me. I answered you, but you call me, you know who I was. So, the only regret I have, Celestial Father, is probably I was not too generous what you expected of me. But I tried. You know, I tried, so I tried. But probably, I don't know if it's enough to go to the heaven. I want to go to the heaven. I want. That's my dream, that's my goal. You know, so, but I don't know if it's enough. So I told him. It comes the question, you were happy? I said, oh yes. Oh yes. Every single day. Every single day. You know, we need to be happy or to have this life. Otherwise, we don't share the happiness to other people. Sometimes the people ask me here, Father, why you are happy? I said, well, it's a beautiful day. I have a wonderful bed. I have a food. Most important, I receive Jesus in my heart. I'm walking. I have everything. Why I must not be happy? Yet try to share a little bit of happiness too, in some way. To say hello, how are you, good morning, you are okay, you know. It's because I believe we need to share the happiness. If you show a community where one another don't talk, when one another don't care, when one another are like enemies, when you say good morning somebody give the back or answer very badly to you, are you happy with your vocation? You know, because the Holy Father will go a little more, you will see that. So our hearts needs to be really in peace and joy. You know, before to be seminarian, I put my life in peace, believe me that. You know, was not easy. my life, so I will not tell you my life all. But the thing is, I needed to forgive, I needed to be forgiven. It's all I did. At that moment, my heart was totally open for God. Do right wherever you want in my life, because you forgive me and I forgive too. So, for that, the happiness, we need to fill our hearts, because everything, God is a lovely Father. Sometimes we say, wow, what's happened to you? No, I think I'm okay, I can endure, because He loves me, He is teaching something to me, I will learn. Because He is my Heavenly Father. I don't have more mom and dad in this earth, but my Father, our Father cares for me. He cares so much, so I don't doubt any second. So we need to trust and we need to be happy in all the challenge of the life. I'm counting on you to awaken the world. We need to awake the world. The difference is not done for everybody. I learned, that was one of the things I shared to you, these guys. Sometimes when we are new ordained, we want to transform the world. I wanted to change the world. I went to missions, I did missions, I created, till I was so sick, I stopped, The thing is, we need to make the difference that I learned. The world is still there, but the difference you do with your perseverance. Don't expect everybody will do. Sometimes to awake the world, we need one convinced person. One day in our community, I start the Wednesday masses together. I have a very challenge with somebody. So I decided I don't go more. I don't need. I come to Unites to work in the seminary, I do my job, finish the class, I go home, that's it. I don't need this kind of situation. I decided that. So, that was my decision. But I have the bad thing, I have one image of Jesus in my wall. I turned like that, it was like Jesus was watching me. I said, oh boy. I turned like that, was Mary watching me, oh boy. Finally, in the morning was the time to go. I was living where Dr. Rhonda lives, and that was my room for 9 years. So I was cursing, and the moment I feel like I was doing wrong, I said, okay, I obey. Yeah, I went. Yeah, I arrived, the guys were there, was not pleased for the Mass. I understand. The difference that we do, sometimes to make the difference is not easy. Sometimes we need to die to ourselves, in many moments. But we need to do. For that we become priests, for that we consecrate our lives, for that we are of Jesus, so for that we are crazy for that, isn't it? But crazy for Jesus, that is Severinus, because we need to be experts of communion. The communion always born when you have a fraternal life. To accept one another in the difference. Sometimes we want everybody to be like us. I find it one thing, I don't know with you, but we are very comfortable when we have vocations, sheep vocations, lamb vocations. Yes? Man, behind you. Man, do this, yes, Father. Don't do that, yes, Father. Sit, yes, Father. Don't sit, yes, Father. Oh, we're happy to have that kind of occasions. But if you have sit, oh, you don't have vocation. We hate the leaders. I love the leaders. We need to understand. Because, we need to be experts in communion. We need to accept each one with all our gifts, our limitations, to accept one another. We must be complementary. I was telling to somebody, I said, it's wonderful your vision of negativism of your brother. No, 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 no. Oh my gosh, it's like piercing your heart, honestly. I ask, did you see something good? Did you commit, if your brother is so limited, why you don't commit to help him to overcome their own limitations? I don't know. We need to be experts of communion. This is not a question of very poetry. Sorry for the poets, but it's that we deal in the real life daily. If we can become beautiful with that, you know. So to come out of ourselves and go forward to the existential peripheries. You know, here a holy apostle, for example, in my community, is to go to your brothers. I know you guys, some the Americans especially, you are educated in the privacy, in the autonomy. You know, it is different our cultural encounter. The Holy Father will talk a little bit about the different cultural encounter. You know, in us it's more easy. Oh, I need this, you know, but you are more autonomous. You try to find your own. You know, but we need to understand each one another. We don't need to go finding the poor, finding the more vulnerable, finding this. Sometimes just we need to open our eyes. You know, sometimes you need to take your car, you give a ride somebody to the doctor. Sometimes you need to put the money in your wallet. You need to wait for the medicine for somebody. You know, nobody needs to know. You know, but there are many things to do. So we can make the difference. Each form of consecrated life will question what it is that God and people today are asking of them. You know, the people talks about us, how good or how lousy we are. The people talks us. We always don't expect everybody to clap in the hands, okay? Always somebody will say something bad. That word I hate, but exists. You know, this is a very good. Somebody can open the door. Somebody's there. Thank you. You know, sometimes they say, "Oh, this is a wonderful person. That there is beautiful." But okay, but what? You know, has this, or the beautiful person disappear. You know, we need always to understand what the people expect of us. We need to listen to people. The people are important. Because, remember, Vatican II spoke about the holiness of life as a reality of the people of God together. No more the priests, no more the religious, but it's everybody can be holy. The horizons of the year of consecrated life. The Holy Father says, I wish to speak also to the laity. The laity, you know, the laity is somebody who shares our story, our spirituality, our life, our community. That is the laity. The laity is not somebody who appears once in a while with a friend or because has a brother in the community or things like that. Needs to be committed to our charism and mission in the church. But we need them if them needs us. It is a complementary work as a family. So the question is, the Holy Father reminds us, do you have friends? What is the relation with your friends? I remember I was working in Peru, and the moment they saw me very worried, he asked me, Father, why you are worried? I said, I don't have money to pay this month the tuition academic for my guys. Oh, one says, I can pay, Father. Really? I made me happy, but I know she was poor. I said, how much you need, Father? And that time I said, 750. She got almost heart attack. I said, but good intention, I understand. Let us pray about that. We pray about that if we create the friends of Jesus. Everybody give a little bit if we pay the studies. You know, things like that. But the lay people walks doing the story of the salvation with us. You know, always I tell, you love the Eucharist? Yes. committed to have one seminarian at least educated. Help us. We are not asking everything, but help us. Because the seminarians, sometimes, mostly of the seminarians in Peru comes from the poor families. You know, and how, personally, I studied because one in Canada paid my studies, I didn't know it. I knew till I was in Montreal, the superior asked me, you need to know your benefactress. I said, I have. He'll give me the name. I went to see, oh, she saw me, she started to cry. I don't know, she started to cry by emotion, okay? And says, can you celebrate a mass for me? I said, sure, we will celebrate. We celebrate, she was a nurse, never married. All her money I went to study in Rome. Wherever I went, she was paying my study. So she can travel around the world, she can buy things, but no, she was giving. Finally, she sold the house, she went to live in a very small apartment, very small, one room, because she wanted always to support me. I was very, very touched. You know, because they are our friends. We need to know who help us too, or to pray for them. That is what we do. Members of fraternities, you know, and communities who belongs, the whole people of God. We need to understand the whole people of God always looks for us, you know. The people of God, the Holy Father always goes in that way. The people of God is those baptized who committed with us. For example, just the example of the conscience is interesting. You know, I listen to people going from different places of the United States just to be in one mass with you guys. So you have that tremendous responsibility to do every mass the best. You understand what I mean? You know, because every mass is the best, but I'm trying is because they want to find something what they are looking for. It may be that is so beautiful, so precious. You know, when you watch, for example, many Filipinos coming to visit our friends and establish, you know, or many people are stopping, the drivers stopping here in Waterbury. You need to confess, you go for confessions. So, you know, the people of God need us. Members of fraternities and communities who belong to churches of tradition other than the Catholic tradition, especially the Orthodox, they have the consecrated life. They are invited by the Pope to watch their own story too, because they are persevering too, and they are finding difficulties like us. Other expressions of religious fraternity is present in other religions. For example, we talk about the people, the Buddhists, for example, or in India. There are expressions which they find in some way God too. We need to contemplate them with respect and to learn something too. We can learn. The Pope always speaks that. I address to my brother Bishop, says the Bishop, please care us. The Bishop asks, please, this is time for some of you, please approve the new communities. Approve, ask this year. Approve. It's time to ask. Because the Holy Father is inviting. Because says you are dispenser of the Holy Spirit. It's your duty to approve them, to give stability, and to care for them. That is a beautiful invitation. So finally, the Holy Father entrusts this consecrated year to Mary, you know, the first disciple of Jesus. She is our mother, the Queen of the Holy Apostles. Okay, I hope this is the letter of the Holy Father, and I don't know if you have some questions or I can answer. Was too clear? Come on. Yes.
We see photographs of Father Ménard with Pope John Paul II.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of communication was going on in those photographs? Is he presenting the Constitution?
Yes, yes. Father Ménard always had a very, very, very high love and respect for the pontiffs. he saw many, Pius 12, John 23rd, Paul 6, all the popes till John Paul II. With John Paul II was so beautiful, he traveled to the jungle together. The Pope asked him to go with him. So always he presented, to Paul 6, he's presenting at any time Jesus is calling. It's a book, because we believe that. So I will invite you, we have one ordination, John McDermott, at any time, Jesus called. He will be ordained the 25th of April, and Immaculate Conception in Waterbury there in the morning. If you can go, you are very welcome there. Yes. So that is, and remember we were always, the MSA in Peru needed to be approved, so always was bringing the Constitution to review, so directly to Paul 6, yes. Yes, Father Peter?
Is there work underway for Father Ménard to be officially recognized as least servant of God?
Father Ménard always teach us the greatest saints in the church was not canonized, he says that. But for the moment, yes, but it is in a very germinal stage. So we're approving the different circumscriptions of our society, books where the miracles attributed to him must be recorded. For example, I have one experience in Peru. I was doing, we have the exposition of the Blessed Sacrament during the day, every day, in our houses, we do that. So I expose the Holy Sacrament. There are days where you feel empty. That day I was empty, and I was praying, but in the moment comes a lady crying. But really I didn't want even to talk with her. It's because you will die in 3 months. And she had 3 kids. The child was almost 2 years and a half. So I told her, I cannot adopt your children. I'm a priest. If probably I can help you to put them in one orphanage. That's the most I can do for you. Man, but I listened myself, I was not cheerful. So finally, I said to Jesus, I said, everything what you say to me, can you tell Jesus, please? He is there. She obeyed me. She went near in front of Jesus, and that was all the story. One day, the people give donations, the first Thursday of month or so, I received one envelope, between the old envelopes, with 1,200. That is too much money. So I said to the secretary, please separate that money, I want to know from whom it's coming. That is something special, I need to know. Finally, 2 days later, appears a lady. She was very good, looking well. I said, Father, did you receive my envelope? I said, how much was there? I'll give you the amount. Oh, was you? You don't remember me? I said, yeah, it is with cancer, I was dying. So, oh, yeah, tell me what's happening. I did what you told me, I talked to Jesus, I have no more tears to say. But in that moment, I feel I was healed by him. A fire in my body, and before leaving, I touched the picture of Father Ménard. Yeah, I recommend, says, you are close to him, please ask for me. Yeah, we leave. He did an intercession for me. She was healed. When we went to the doctor, it was funny, because it was like it was operated. Was a sign of a scar there. And I said, who operated you? Nobody operated her. She's still alive. So that can be one witness, for example. The miracles needs to be really miracles, because there are many people who says that we need to watch that. Yes. Okay, oh yes, doctor.
Can you say a little more about how you would dialogue with other religions?
I need to grow personally, because I come from a very Catholic country. When we are very Catholics, we don't know how to dialogue even with other Christians. It's so difficult, you know, because they knock the door, etc. We don't open the door and so on. Gradually in Peru, they are 10% now of these Christians. You know, we need to learn. I have a lot of respect. We need to have always to watch what positive things can come. For example, when you read the philosophy of India, the meditations is so interesting. We can learn the techniques. Or even in Japan, when they use the Buddha, they have groups to live separated from the world in that way. So we can watch what they teach. Sometimes the Kung Fu movies, the Chinese, shows us the Shaolin temples, always they are fighting, but really there are many of them are meditating. For example, the Lama is one of the beautiful examples. He received the Nobel Prize of the Peace because he was fighting for the rights of his people, you know, and they proclaimed the non-violence. That what's Father Michel? What's in France? In France, Thésée, for example, it's universal movement open. So I think we as a Catholics we need to learn methods like never forgetting Jesus is the answer yesterday, today, and always. That we need to have clear. But the rest we can be open in some way, you know. Mm-hmm. Okay, I appreciate so much your presence. Those who are seminarians need to pray. So a 5 will be normally the prayer. We will be waiting for you guys in the dining room. Those who are visitors come with us to the dining room. Okay? God bless you. Thank you.